think about? Who else depends on you? Because if you're married, have kids, parents, siblings, you name it, somebody else will care about you. So then people start thinking twice before saying, like, I don't care what you're saying, I want my pizza, and that's all. So this is my daughter Bella, and even the crazy cat depends on me because, you know, kids don't clean or don't do anything for the animals, but yeah, so definitely depends on me. So, so we're gonna start with some of the healthy eating, right? Like I said, without knowing each of your stories, we're just gonna focus on what Dr. Andrew Weil likes the most, and he calls anti-inflammatory or Mediterranean diet. Because it's been studied and it showed that really, really has great impact on heart disease, chronic illnesses, brain, cognitive decline. It's extremely, extremely important. And we're gonna start with just a few common sense rules, because I'll tell you, I have some people, my doctor's colleagues will ask me about, well, what are the studies? Show me the studies, what is it? Okay, I don't care about your studies. These are common sense rules, right? If we go back and think about how our grandparents did things, let's just think about what we're doing to our bodies. And these are some of the, just a few things for you all to remember. What you put in your plate, it's obviously always has to be a balanced ratio, right? You don't want to do too much of anything. I'm a truly believer in moderation and trying to come up with more sustainable lifestyle. So sugar, if you choose the right kind of sugar, right? If you have a little bit of fruit on your plate, or the complex carbs, the ones that your body will digest slowly, you can have a little bit of that. Sometimes we all do need that boost. So these are just a few suggestions in terms of what or how you should plan to meal most of the days. Fiber, I don't think I need to tell anybody how important that is and how important it is to keep you regular. But it also, I think a lot of people don't realize that, I'm sure you all heard about probiotics, right? Have you? Okay. So, but in order for those probiotics to actually survive and develop and work well, they need their own food, and that's called prebiotic. So some of this fiber that we're eating, that's what it does. It helps those good gut bacteria grow and develop. And that in turn will have a great effect on your immunity, weight loss, anxiety. My patients are always surprised when I tell them, like, what is the connection between the gut and my brain? But you know, there is a happy hormone called serotonin, right? I'm sure you all heard about it. And a lot of that, a big percentage of that, is produced by the gut. So it's just very simple actually how a sick gut or a leaky gut can end up or add to everyday anxiety and stress and other more serious psychiatric problems. So most people do better with small meals and a couple of snacks during the day. I had patients that would be just fine with 3 meals a day, but I think for most of us, we do need something between the main meals, a bit of snack, and definitely there are choices that you can make to choose the right snack and not just reach for that chocolate bar and around 3-4 p.m. Everybody gets that energy, or most people get that energy slump in the afternoon around 3-4 o'clock, and that's what we all do, right? Or the coffee. So these are just few. The first sentence there is, it's another problem that I see a lot. People don't eat enough, especially when they try exercising. So you always remember to balance, especially when you do have a significant, or you're exercising a good amount of time, you have to keep up with your intake, because otherwise your body will use your muscles, you use your gut and for fuel, and that's not what your goal should be, right? Muscles are very important. So let's get into common rules. Rule number 1, water. Everybody knows about that. Everybody's drinking the water, I see. How much water do you think you should have?
Half your body weight.
Yes, yeah. And honestly, if it's water, I like sparkling water. I still hope that eventually they'll discover it's healthy for you. Whatever it is, if it's water or tea, it's great. So water is just, everybody definitely knows about that. Number 2, anti-inflammatory foods. And with that, what I mean by that is I would like you to every time you eat something, I would like you to think about it as going down two possible pathways. It can be good for your body, get absorbed, digested and absorbed easily, and used by your body the right way, or it can go down the wrong pathway. And by that I mean releasing certain chemicals in your body that will cause inflammation, or the food is not digested properly and now you have bigger pieces of food in your blood, and your body will recognize it as the enemy because we're not designed to, we just want certain things, or our body wants certain things. So every single time we choose a food, it can be pro or anti-inflammatory. And I think if we all think about that, remember that, and will help a lot making the right choice. Number 3, sensitivities. That's, I'm sure all of you heard one way or another about that. Anybody knows what food sensitivities? Yeah. And this is not the one that it's called IgE, whenever, you see that big rash and you swell up. That's easy to recognize, and, people will avoid that, right, like a plague. The problem is with the chronic sensitivities. With this, you have different type of antibody and will actually manifest more of like headaches, fatigue, weight gain, skin rashes, bloating, all sorts of very non-specific findings. And people will say, there's nothing to do with food. Yes, it does. And it's very actually easy to figure out if you just get rid of some of these foods for a couple of weeks and then reintroduce one at a time. You'll see it. You'll see you'll gain weight, and within 2-3 days, because now you're retaining water, and because all of this bad foods for you will cause that inflammatory reaction. And probably by now all of you read somewhere that inflammation is what's causing all these chronic illnesses, from diabetes, high blood pressure, or is part of the actual process. Even some of the cancers. So you have up there a couple of the main, most people are sensitive to this food. Now, I'm not saying that you cannot eat it ever. Can you say? Yeah. It's gluten, unfortunately, with dairy, corn, eggs, soy. So this is just a couple of the most, the problem foods. Now, some people might be okay with dairy, but cannot tolerate the soy or the corn. But if you want to kind of do on your own and check, this would be the few suggestions. I would say just get rid of these few things for a couple of weeks and see how you feel. And then reintroduce one at a time and keep a journal. Write down soy. Mm-hmm. Soy, corn.
Did you say coffee?
Well?
Peanuts or coffee?
Yes.
What?
I know.
Coffee was on my list.
It hurt my heart to put it up there. I know. But it's, yeah. Now, what I tell if you drink coffee, if you can switch to the organic variety and drink in moderation, I'm not gonna, because I cannot say, since I'm drinking a little bit of coffee, and there's some studies, now that I love studies suddenly, there's some studies that show that it might be good for you, right? So there's actually a recent coffee that I found, is called, how's it called, Purity Coffee, something like that. They have some studies that they did on their own that really had good results. But again, if you don't drink coffee, don't start just because of that, right? It's highly addictive. So, but yeah, coffee can cause a lot of digestive gut issues, yes. So these are just few things, but you can also have nightshades, like the eggplant, tomatoes, peppers. A lot of people are, especially with joint pain, you might want to look into that and get rid of that for a couple of weeks. Okay. Yeah, coffee. Digest your food. Oh, everybody will say, well, that's it. Well, let me tell you, right? You just sit down and eat your food. No, that's not gonna, that's just that one simple step, if somebody can change it. Because if you think about it, you know how they say, oh, the food was so good and my mouth is watering. But that's because there are actually some digestive enzymes released. Our digestion starts in the mouth, especially for carbohydrates. So we need to see the food. Our brain tells our gut, food is coming, start releasing some of the enzymes. And it starts from mouth all the way to gallbladder, pancreas, and the gut, the bowels, right? If that process doesn't happen, you're gonna eat your food, something will happen to the food, but not things are not going to go down smoothly. Your food will not be digested properly. If you don't have time, or if you know that you're going to be in a rush, this one. Something easy to do is to use something called digestive bitters. Anybody heard about that? You use them? Yeah, so they're bitter. But these are some sort of concoctions they would use certain plants, because everything that's sour or bitter, that's what tells your body food is coming, starts working. So you can find them, something like Whole Foods would have, Sprouts would have some of those, I think even on Amazon. And you can keep a bottle with you. They also have sprays, and just maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes before your lunch break, just drink, spray, whatever. And that will help a little bit with digestion, and that's already an important step. I forgot the name. I think it's something with moonshine. Remember?
Moonshine.
Yes, that's right. Yes, yeah. And they have, some of them will have alcohol in it, but some of them are.
What was it called for me?
Urban moonshine.
Okay.
Sure.
So how do you tell if you're not digesting?
If you're not digesting,
Yeah.
well, people will have all sorts of chronic infections, fatigue, weight gain, or inability to lose weight. Their numbers, these days we can actually look at all the vitamins and minerals in your body, and you see your numbers are all low, because you might eat, but your body's not digesting or absorbing the food the proper way. Yeah. But you feel like you have to do your whatever you have during the day, but you're gonna feel miserable by the end of the day. Yeah. So and the last sentence there, I think it's everybody knows by now. Organic and non-GMO. Again, it's just, to me, it's just common sense. Whatever is not, when you look at labels these days, right, you see at least 10 things that you have no idea what it is. Sometimes, to be honest, I have to look it up. It's amazing. And obviously, if we don't know what it is, our body's not meant to digest and process. It's what whenever my daughter goes to some sort of swimming camp, they get this disgusting, how do you call that, ice, colorful thing in the summer, whatever.
Ice pops.
Yes. And she comes home and she's very Mom, I had one of these. All right, well, how's that petroleum, working for you? I mean, I'm bad, but no, it wasn't. Yes, it was. All of those, colorful things. Yeah, they're just chemicals. So she's annoyed every single time when I tell her, but sorry. So, going back to what we're gonna eat, right? We're told for a long time, and that's our fault as doctors too, because we told our patients just focus on a low-fat diet, right? Everything had to be low-fat. Even my pediatrician was upset with me every single time when I went to see him, because I was just giving Bella just regular milk, and oh my gosh, don't do that. You have to be low-fat. I'm like, she's fine, so must be doing something right. But it's actually the sugar that's causing all of this issue. So it's the number one enemy, right? And sugar can have another 10,000 names for it, from high fructose corn syrup, which everybody recognized, to more sneaky names on the label. So something like a grocery tour would be good at some point, where you can actually recognize that on the labels easily. But if you really need to use something, this would be on the left my few choices that I would recommend. I'm not saying eat honey the whole day or like this much, but at least it has some other medicinal properties. Stevia is a sweetener, but it's better than the other artificial sweeteners, all those weird names that we used for years. If you have them in the house, please throw them away. Bad for you. From Splenda, all of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a couple different forms of stevia. There's like the sweet leaf, and you see all these different things. What is the best form of stevia?
The one that I found, Sana, that is perfect. I do like the one that you said, the sweet leaf. I use that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's like the stevia and the raw, and all these different ones are. So the sweet leaf stevia is the best.
Yeah, when you look at the label and you see only one or two words, those are the best. But sweet leaf is one of the best. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How about xylitol? Is that the name?
Sugar,
Yes.
sugar
Mhm.
alcohol.
Sometimes I see people use it's a sugar, it's a form of sugar. It's not absorbed by the body a lot, so it's not terrible. So if you want to go on the
Right.
like really bad, it's down here. So compared to
stevia is
Splenda,
better?
I like stevia better
Okay.
than that if you can. Some people don't like the taste though. It's a little bit of a bitter aftertaste, but it's always. And then I'll tell them just use honey or use fruit to sweeten your
What,
a drink.
what about what's the agave or what's the, what is
Oh,
the?
agave.
Right, good question. Yeah, everybody likes agave. It's actually not good for you. It's changed in the liver. It's changed into fructose, which is plain sugar. Yeah,
All right.
yeah. So if you have to use if you want to use something, the maple syrup is much better for for that. Yes. I did put up there also the monk fruit just because it doesn't change a lot that insulin sugar interaction. So for people with diabetes, for example, it's much better choice than using other forms of sugar. Again, you just have to try different things and see whatever works for you. But yeah, sugar is. Oh, and then when it comes to sugar, I always tell my patients that I think willpower is definitely a finite product, right? So if you think you're gonna be able to stay away from sugar until 10 o'clock in the evening after you had a long day and at work or whatever, and kids are driving you crazy, please don't even try. Maybe have a healthier alternative around afternoon time. I have this avocado chocolate mousse that I like, and you have no idea it's actually avocado. And I'll go straight to the fridge when I get home from hospital, have that, and my brain is happy. Because I traveled, and 10 o'clock, here I am, did not end up well. So it's always know your body, and don't expect that you're gonna be always disciplined. Or maybe there are a couple, I'm average, person here. So sugar is the one that probably if you remember anything from the day, that's what I wanted to stay away from. Fat is being, again, a major source discussion for now years. We're switching from everything has to be low fat. It's actually what type of fat you choose, right? Any of you heard about this whole controversy about coconut oil and yeah. So, these are a couple of, if you can, I don't know if it's too small or if you can see, this is what I would recommend when it comes to healthy fat. So olive oil is hands down the best choice. And you can use that for some of the cooking. You can use my health coach even takes it with like some lemon, and it's a great source of what actually your body needs. Fish, if you can get the wild caught, you will get healthy fat. The other type of fish, the farmed one, not so much. And I know it's gonna be, or I find it a struggle. I don't know about you, but it's so hard to find really good fish. So now I use this. It's I think they call it a food co-op. They will bring fish every couple of months. They will just, and I can give you that information for later, but they will just, you place your order, you get the fish every 3-4 months. Yes, it's frozen, but at least I know it's high quality, and I'm not eating some, other types of fish that are not actually doing anything for me. The coconut oil, yes, the coconut oil has certain type of fats that are not necessarily great, but most of it, if you use in moderation, most of it will be, most of the ingredients will be good for you. The one type of fat that I actually like in the coconut is something called medium chain triglyceride, and the reason I like it is because it can pass that blood-brain barrier easily. It doesn't need the body to change it or process it. So that's why people like to use it sometimes in the morning in coffee. It helps, it just gets the brain the fuel it needs, because honestly, the fat is needed for hormones, for our brain, for skin, for so many things. The question on the right, I want like you to answer. And I have a prize, a Reiki session for whoever gets it right. Anybody wants to try?
We can't
Yeah,
read
so start
it.
with that, right?
Yeah.
What do you use for cooking? Which type of oil? What in your daily routine?
I use walnut oil.
grapeseed, olive.
I use avocado oil.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you.
This spray
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. So yes, I like avocado oil. Best for cooking. Olive oil, you can definitely cook with it, but not high temperatures. That's the only caveat with olive oil. So when you need something to, whenever you need to cook high temperatures, I use avocado oil. Grapeseed, not a big fan of it. Coconut you can use as well for cooking. All these nuts oils are wonderful. I like them especially in the salad and have that taste. But it's mostly olive, avocado, and a little bit of the coconut. Ghee is wonderful for cooking. Have you all tried that?
Yes.
It's so
I
good.
make it, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but if you ghee.
GHEE.
Yeah.
How about
That's what.
the sesame seed oil? Because I use on salad.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yep,
it good
those
for
are.
cooking, but I never cooked with it.
No, I use mostly for, like you said, salad
Because it has a
drizzle.
little flavor.
Mhm, yes. Or at the end, just to flavor my food.
Right,
Yeah, yeah. But the ghee, it's clarified butter, and even with people, I would have patients with dairy intolerance, and they'll be afraid of using that. The butter and the fat actually sometimes people can tolerate better than the whole milk product because it contains mostly the fat and not that part that's causing the trouble. So you can try to use ghee or a good quality fat butter for that. Whatever is fat and meat, it's extremely important to use to buy organic. It's where the toxins are stored. So don't even try to skip it. That's one thing we store our toxins in the fat too. That's why sometimes it's hard to lose weight. Your body's trying to, keep them tucked in there. Don't move them. So, yep.
What about, like fats, like, supplements, like, essential fatty acid in like the supplement form, like liquid, is that okay? Like
Yes.
the fish oil that you combine
Yes.
it like liquid and you take it with a spoon, is that okay?
Fish oil, I use it a lot. I take it myself because I don't, especially when I'm at the hospital, I know they're not gonna have the great food. With fish oil, you wanna be careful in terms of purity because some of them are contaminated with mercury, so buy a good brand. Like something like Nordic Naturals, over the counter, it's a reasonable one. And you also, for a true anti-inflammatory effect, you need to be around the 2,000 milligram range if you have any sort of issues going on. If you just take it for, to stay healthy, you can take less. But if you want to be truly, or to have an anti-inflammatory, you need 2,000 milligrams of the EPA and the DHEA per day.
Okay.
So when you look at the bottle,
So when it has like the 3, 6, 9, is it the 6 or the 3?
it will say EPA and DHEA on the back.
Okay.
That's what you need. Don't get, the rest of it, don't believe it. Just look at those two things, and then you can do the math. And most of the time, you need to take more than what says on the bottle as a serving, especially for the over-the-counter. EPA and the DHEA. The DHEA is the one that's most important for the brain. EPA is the one that it's more important for the heart, and so as long as you can get a good brand, yes. And people do feel better within weeks, and their skin looks better, their brain is functioning better, and I've never had any problems as long as you use a clean supplement with that. People are scared of that fishy taste. I never keep it in the freezer if it bothers you, but never had major problems with that.
What was the brand of the fish oil you said was a good over the counter?
Nordic Naturals.
Nordic?
Naturals. Yeah, it's like a white and blue.
Yeah.
It's easy to find these days.
They have it at, they have it at Sprouts, like.
Sprouts always have coupons too,
Yeah, and they're very helpful. Their employees are very helpful. If you can find, they always be ready to help you. Yeah. The next danger zone is, our favorite, the gluten, wheat, all of that. And, I know by now it's like a whole discussion in this country about if you should be gluten-free, no, and even my own teachers like Andrew Wow would say people use gluten for so many years. There's nothing, it's just all about moderation and choosing the whole grains. I think it's an individual decision, and you have to look at what type of other health conditions you have. I can tell you though, when people go or reduce the amount of gluten, they feel better. Whether it's the way it's processed, whatever it is, something happens to our gut, and we think it's causing that leaky gut. Do you all know what the leaky gut
Yes.
is?
I have it.
So, yeah,
I have it.
yeah. So the gut, there is a pretty tight wall between the gut and our blood. It's meant to be tight, and it has only very small openings for the food, for the right kind of food. But because of stress, infections, bad food, you name it, we'll end up with those small openings are now like this big. So that moment, everything will get into your blood, from bacteria to big blocks of undigested food. That's what's called leaky gut. So sometimes when people get that food allergy testing and they're allergic to everything, it's actually they're not. It's just that they have this leaky gut, and really once you work on your gut health, you'll see in a couple of months that actually you can eat many foods on that list without a problem. But yeah, so, and I also tell you, I have patients that will go to I don't know, Italy and this and that, and they're fine. They eat gluten and they're fine. So again, we're not gonna go into that controversy, but these are the facts that I noticed myself. So whether you choose to be completely gluten-free or reduce the amount, is still will be a good step for you. And again, this is something that it's in pretty much everything. So it's not just you buying the bread, and it's in everything, gluten, right? They use it as fillers. I think I found the toothpaste ones that had some gluten in it. Yep.
The envelopes and my daughter has to be gluten free, or she will get very sick within 15 minutes. So
Mm-hmm.
it's in the envelopes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And this is different from celiac, right? Celiac disease, it's when you really, there is a whole mechanism. You cannot tolerate gluten. I don't know if that's what she, but you cannot tolerate gluten at all. But the majority of us, you're not gonna see, you might see a difference immediately, but most of the time you see something within the next 24 hours. And the same thing goes joints. You're achy, you're tired, you're bloated, you're that kind of problem. Now, if you want to eat something with gluten, you can always choose the whole grains or the gluten-free grain. Anybody who likes quinoa, right? All of that. So those would be good choices for you. All right. Any other questions about gluten? Now, there's some supplements actually that people can use if you're gonna have a heavy meal and lots of gluten and pizza or whatever it is. There's certain supplements that you can take after that or shortly and will help with that will help your body get rid of it and digest a bit better. And not to make it I can, like my daughter, she likes to eat a lot because she knows I can put some essential oils on her belly and make her feel better. It's like, oh yeah, I can eat this whole thing because mom is gonna do the essential oils. So I said, no, that beats the purpose. So one day I give her the digestive bitter instead, and that was the end of the story. She paid attention since then. Fermented foods, anybody? 1, 2. Okay. Do you all know? It's a kind of acquired taste. Not everybody likes it. So I just put a couple of names in there so you can all try. But it's kimchi, sauerkraut, cafe, all of that. Just give it a try. Try one thing at a time. I promise it's not that bad.
Kefir or pepper, in the bottle. I think that's considered a fermented food.
It has some, yeah. It's not as good as like maybe or as strong as kimchi or that, but it's sometimes a good start for somebody who's not used to that. Kimchi can be spicy, yes, you have to pay attention.
What if when you drink that you actually feel worse, like more bloated, and is there a certain digestive problem that would actually be bad for?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's why I put start with small amounts. I found that people, yes, when they're really sick, when they have significant gut health issues already, when you add more bacteria, because by now that person has lots of bad bacteria right inside. So now when you add more bacteria, even if it's a good one, it becomes too much.
Right.
So somebody with, there is a condition called SIBO. small bowel overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth. Somebody who would have that, they can potentially feel bad when they start this. So always try small amounts, and just pay attention how you feel.
And that's the same with taking probiotics. Some
Mhm,
people can't
mhm.
take probiotics because they have a bad gut.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And with probiotics, there are different strains and different strengths, and some of them are really strong, and probably even a healthy person, if you just start taking a bunch of them, might be too much. But yes, people with gut health issues already, that's what they notice. So then we stop, work on the gut health, and start again, or choose something that's very very light.
How do you know what
Mhm.
to do, like, about probiotics? Like, just a regular Joe person, like, how do you get started with, does everybody need to take a probiotic? If you do, how do you get started? Like, what's just kind of like a normal
Mhm.
thing to do with
Mhm.
that?
So what I say, you either eat this or take the probiotics. And you don't have to take, if you don't have any health condition, you might not need to take one every day. So you can maybe keep a bottle, take, I don't know, twice a week, see how you feel. But if you don't eat fermented foods at all, the chances are your good bacteria count is gonna be low, and then something will happen, you get a sinus infection and you get a round of antibiotics from your doctor, let's say, and then, it really goes down, and then you'll take some maybe NSAIDs, Motrin, Advil, because, one day you have a headache, then the count goes down even lower, so, 5 years down the road, you might end up with some problem. My preference would be for people to start eating pips, yes, it's much better choice. Which one? Oh, the last, cabbage, tempeh, it's a form of fermented soy. Tempeh, the last one, TEMPEH, that's the one you talked about.
So kimchi,
That's the last thing that people try, that's why I put it in the
Like a
end.
meat substitute, you wouldn't just like
Yeah,
cut it and eat a bite of it, you would cook it like a meat thing.
so, but yeah, usually people start with something like kimchi or there is this little, what's it called, it's made of oats, good belly, or
Yep.
was it belly shot? Yeah,
That's
that's another pleasant way to start with fermented foods. They have a little bit of flavor. They have, they're not the best, but it's a good way to start. And I think Sprouts
those are
has it.
non-dairy too.
They're
which
non-dairy.
If you have
Mhm.
Dairy
Mhm.
issues, you
Yeah.
wouldn't wanna do
Yeah.
you would wanna do like a non-dairy
Mhm.
kefir.
Yeah,
however
this
you
is
say
made of
that.
oats. Yeah, yeah.
Just
Good
for
belly.
general information, there is a place in 92, it's locally, and they source all the ingredients locally, and they make water kefir, like no dairy
Mhm.
kefir,
Yeah.
You will make it.
kimchi, they make everything, and
Mhm.
they source from local farmers. And
Yes.
everything's like organic thing. It's on
Yeah.
Highway 92 and Tricon Road.
Yeah.
It's called Early Awakening.
Yeah. And actually, I forgot to put up there the kombucha.
They make a
Nature's
kombucha,
Yes.
they make
Is
kombucha.
kombucha good?
Yeah, I actually forgot to put it up there, but yes. Now, I'll tell you, some of the kombucha that you find in the store, they have lots of sugar and stuff. There is a brand that I really, really like. I think now they have it at Whole Foods or Sprouts. It's called Lupa's Kitchen. Oh, I love that. You have to try that if
They
you,
sell it as
this,
not good nutrition.
Nature's Corner?
Nature's Corner.
Yeah, 'cause they make their own kombucha there.
mhm.
Yeah, they made it, but they sell lupas there
They-
too.
If
So
you,
you
yeah,
like it better than the Kavita?
yeah,
You do.
yeah.
So don't.
It's
I
so
don't
much
know what
better.
the-
Yeah, it's so much better. To me, it is a little too sugar.
Okay.
This, once you try first, and actually met the founder, Lupa's Kitchen. I met the founder, and she's this like little science. She's so nice, little sweet old lady science, like med scientist, and it's so good. And she puts in there, she puts ginger. Sometimes she mixes it with other really good things for you. So. Mhm.
Can we go back to fermented foods for idiots? Because what is the good belly for? You cook with that or something?
Oh no, the Good Belly is a drink. It's I almost feel like it's a little bit. It's not really sparkling, but it's just a little bit fizzy, I would say, right? My daughter loves it, but you can find it. It's a big. You can even buy a big bottle like this, or they have small shots that you can take with you. So it's a drink, and they have all sorts of flavors like mango, and it's made of oats, so it's non-dairy. I don't know if even Kroger carries it these days. Yeah. So that's a good, pleasant way of introducing fermented foods.
Okay,
Yeah.
so on the kombucha, that's, you can do it yourself by doing the SCOBY, right? And where you ferment
Yes.
your own tea, but can you drink that every day, kombucha?
I would, when I have lupus kitchen, I'll have like a little shot every day. I like it so much.
So not the whole, like, of the Kavita bottle, like, I'll
No.
drink that,
I would not, I think to me that's a little
that's
bit
too much,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's better to have small, regular,
Okay.
yeah. And you can buy a big
Shot.
bottle of the Lupa's Kitchen and just keep in the fridge, and you have a little bit of.
Okay.
If you can make your own, but again, I'm not,
Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm your average person. I cook, but I'm not,
Yeah.
great with it, so. Any more questions about that before we move? I have the greatest nanny in the world. She can cook anything she wants and anytime she wants, so I'm not like that. I need instructions. All right. And of course, I don't want to forget about this. I think that's something that pretty much everybody knows, that it's important to have that part, proteins in your meal, whether you get it from meat or veggies, whatever you want to do. It's extremely important, every single meal. Sometimes it's hard to do that, so if you want to add the protein powder, as long as you pick a good one, not too many fillers in it and weird stuff, I'm okay with that as well.
What is a good one? Because we make smoothies sometimes. What's a good protein?
The one that I use, they're called something like orthomoleculars or Designs for Health. Sometimes you can find them online. I think Designs for Health you can find online. The other one, I have to. Which one? Yeah, they go back and forth. Sometimes they update. They had some issues before. Now it's better. It's just look all and pick the most down flavor down on everything. It's just to be on the safe side. And I wouldn't do it all the time. Do it when you exercise. Do it when you're in a rush and you cannot maybe get a good breakfast and you want a shake. And if you don't want to do anything protein powder, just adding some chia seeds, that will give you a great amount of amino acids. Just a spoon of, chia?
No, I can't read the green. Chia?
Oh,
Seeds?
chia seeds. Mhm.
Okay, flax is the next word.
Or flax, yes, yeah. But if you put just a spoon of chia seeds, that will give you an extra amount of amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks for the protein. So just don't forget to drink it immediately, because it will become some sort of jello consistency. The chia seeds will puff up like a pudding. That's
You've
okay.
done that
Yeah,
before.
that's okay. I couldn't drink my shake. I was driving and then trying to drink. And that was the first time when I used it. And the last, that green part in there, it's something that worries me a lot these days, because everybody's on some sort of Protonix, Nexium, omeprazole, Prevacid. So these are conventional medicine things that we have too much acid in our stomach, right? The functional medicine thinks it's actually not that you have too much. As we age, the amount of acid in our stomach actually decreases. The problem is that things are not working well in the gut, whether you're constipated, whether you have bacterial overgrowth, whatever it is, but not having a problem here will just trickle down and go up here, and now you have, and then you get reflux. Also, there is a little muscle between the stomach and the esophagus. The esophagus, that tube between the mouth and the stomach. That muscle is supposed to prevent the acid going up to the esophagus, right? But that little tiny muscle can be, unfortunately, influenced by so many things, including stress or certain foods like coffee. So now, instead of being tight between meals, it's just lax and loose, and lets things go up to your esophagus. So, but the problem is, people or doctors would say, well, here, take your proton pump inhibitor. That will in turn decrease the amount of acid, and now your proteins So now you're gonna have a problem digesting and absorbing the protein. And some of the vitamins too, like the B12, it needs things to work pretty well in the stomach. So a lot of people I've seen with B12 deficiency just because of that. So,
What are your thoughts on raw apple cider vinegar?
I like it, and actually it's on, oh, was it on the next slide? Let's see, I put it here somewhere. Yes, so can you see someone in there? Yeah, line of it. Yes, so I like that. Apple cider vinegar and lemon juice, a little bit. You need to start with low amounts always, because people have different levels of sensitivity. But this can actually help with the protein digestion. What I also like about the apple cider vinegar is that if you add it to, let's say, your salad, will cut that insulin spike. So if you eat something that will have a lot of carbs, if you have a little salad with apple cider vinegar and maybe a little bit of olive oil, that will help prevent that spike in insulin when the blood sugar hits your blood. So that's how I use it most of, but I know people that will have a little bit of apple cider vinegar with water in the morning, maybe a little bit of honey to make it more. Yeah, so definitely like that.
Do the capsules, are they okay?
The capsule?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you hate
I
the
can't
taste.
drink it, but not, I take the capsules.
Yeah, but before, try it and try it like a vinaigrette. Because I don't drink it, but with olive oil and on salt, it's actually not bad. It's always, when you can, everything you get through food, it's always better than the supplement. So try it this way. If you still don't like it, yeah, you'll stay. And I know everybody knows cinnamon, turmeric. The reason I put them up there is because the cinnamon can actually change your, again, interaction between the blood sugar and the insulin. So for people with diabetes, that's a really easy way of helping with that. But you need to get about 1 teaspoon a day. So if you like cinnamon and you think you can incorporate 1 teaspoon a day of cinnamon, whatever, coffee, oatmeal, it's fine. If not, try the supplements. This is actually a good one to try through supplements because it can be pretty efficient for blood sugar. Cinnamon. The turmeric, I'm sure most of you know by now or heard about, great anti-inflammatory, any sorts of achy joints. Better absorbed if you use it with pepper. So whenever you put in your food, make sure you put a little bit of black pepper in it as well. It has this bright yellow color, but the taste I found pretty mild. I think I can, or at least my daughter didn't say anything, so I'm assuming it was pretty mild, and she was not bothered by it. So, the third line in there is dandelion tea. I love this one for your liver. So anytime when you feel sluggish, anytime you come out after holidays, any tea with a little bit of dandelion in it, maybe a little cilantro in your food, those are great for liver detox. If you don't do anything else, just adding these few things will help a lot. There is actually a cilantro extract these days that can be used for liver detox. I love cilantro, so I don't know why you bring that thing versus eating, but just in case somebody doesn't like it, look for that.
What about milk thistle for liver detox?
Milk thistle, it's great for your liver. Or the way I use it is more like maintenance, or for people that have been on certain medications that are heavy on the liver function, but it's a great one, yes, milk thistle for liver. But if you need more like getting rid of, some extra water retention, after the holidays, doing these but milk, yeah, I love that. And the last thing that I wanted to just kind of put there, because it's so easy to use, and especially when you're going through certain diets, a lot of people do intermittent fasting, is bone broth. Have you all heard about it? Yeah, it's easy, right? I mean, you can either make it at home or you can buy it. I like the homemade, and it's pretty easy to make, or at least
They have a soup now, tomato soup from Kettle Fire that comes with the bone broth, and it's like delicious.
Yeah, Kettle on Fire is one of the
Yes.
the best brands out there for bone broth. Yeah.
Love it.
But you can drink it cold, warm, with a little bit of good salt, and whatever you want to do. Whenever you feel hungry and you're going through a diet, having a bit of this will help with that. Will keep you full. But it's also it has a lot of collagen in it for skin, joints, amazing. and it has some of the amino acids as well, so it'd be another source of protein for you. So now that we did all of this, that's annoying. That is annoying. And it's true that for women it's harder to lose weight because there's so many other things going on. But yes, we do see that a lot, right? There's still problems with losing weight. And here is what, or why. So you're already going through, you're changing your nutrition, you're changing your diet, you're doing the right things. Obviously, you're already exercising, you're all proactive. But the last three things that I put there, that can just really mess up your journey, so to speak. And yeah, it's the brain, yep.
Can you read those off?
Neurotransmitters. The neurotransmitters, and I just put it to, because it's always, but they're the chemicals that make our brain work. Right? It's the serotonin, is the GABA, all of those little things that our brain is using as a ways of sending the signals to our body. So the brain can cause trouble when it comes to weight loss. Next, it's detox, if you're holding on to too many or too much toxins. And then, of course, is the hormones. Probably I should have put the hormones first, but I just didn't realize, because it's most of the time what happens a lot, hormone imbalance. So, and then just to kind of go through that a little bit more in detail, can you see this? Stress. I'll ask everybody, I will say, I'm not stressed, especially women, I like that. I'm not stressed. And I say, okay, well, tell me what you did today. And it's like, well, I woke up at 5 and feed my kids and to school and then went to jump and then came back. So by the time they're done, it's like they go through, counting on both hands twice. That is stress for your body. Your body sees that as a stress because your body needs to keep up with you. And what happens, we're meant to have some sort of stress and then just kind of relax, right? These days that never happens anymore, whether it's the family or the job or the traffic. So your cortisol level now is always up here because your body, your adrenal glands are trying to keep up with you, but nothing works 100% forever. And that's where the problem starts, and then eventually the cortisol will start decreasing and you start seeing the weight gain, the chronic infections, and it's like, the way I explain, you're driving to Florida in a nice car, whatever it is, because I'm not good with cars, versus an old car that's, breaking down every 100 miles. You're gonna get there eventually, but you're gonna feel like really bad with the old car. You're just making, and you feel great when everything is working properly. So people with adrenal fatigue, those are the ones that, they'll finish their chores, they'll finish their day, but they will feel miserable by the end of the day. They'll feel miserable by 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They'll have the weight gain, headaches, low energy. So that's why that's number one problem that's gonna unfortunately be a game changer for you all. If you can just manage that, right? So easy. So what can you do? These are just a few suggestions, but everybody has to find that one thing that works for them. I put up there meditation or breathing exercises, and by meditation I mean anything that can take your mind off your stress for 10 minutes. So it doesn't have to be, Zen position for 40 minutes. If you can, for me, for example, if I read a book for 10 minutes, I know I'll forget about everything else. If I can get a massage, that's even better. So everybody is different. For some people it's prayer, could be walking, talking to a friend, whatever it is, it's good enough. That's the goal, to forget about the stress. And it's proven actually the meditation can change our brain. It's called neuroplasticity. Any of you heard of that?
Yes.
Yeah. It's amazing because we thought, right, you're born with your brain, everything goes down from there. Actually, with meditation and breathing exercises and just, we can retrain our brain. Like new pathways between the neurons can form and change your brain. Is that amazing? That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, it is. You can look up neuroplasticity. Heart math, it's just, it's a form of biofeedback. There are all sorts of devices out there. We're not gonna go in details, but it actually can show you how stress changes your heart rate and your breathing pattern. And it's kind of very helpful because you see what you're doing to your body. And people are like, wow, gosh, it's not good. I just added just a couple of suggestions in terms of supplements because sometimes you do need a bit of extra help. Magnesium, something like GABA Calm, Sprouts has it. It's GABA is an amino acid and also used by the brain as a neurotransmitter.
How do you
And
spell it?
a GABA. Something like theanine. That's another product that helps with THEANINE. Another one is called phosphorine. So these are just few things that might help you calm down, help you, especially the GABA Calm. It's easy. You just pop a tablet under your tongue. Again, it doesn't work for everybody, but nothing works for everybody, right? So until you try and see what effect it has on you, it's just a suggestion. Magnesium, I honestly take it almost every day, unless you have some sort of kidney problems when you want to be careful. It's good for your, prevents headaches, help with sleep, keeps you regular. There are different types of magnesium out there. If, let's say you need your gut to work, if you're more on a constipated side, you can try something like magnesium oxide. If you don't need to worry about that part and you're just taking it for sleep and, help you calm down, something like chelated magnesium would be more helpful and will not be harsh on your gut. And the last line is, your number, when you look at your life, probably or most of us were like, what, number 3 on the list? So I just said, no, this has to be make it a job, make it a chore, make it something that you have to do. Don't leave it as an afterthought at the end of the day. Oh yeah, maybe I'll do some meditation later on. And I have this patient she's so sweet, but she's got 6 dogs. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna calm down my dogs and then I'm gonna meditate. What in the world? So you need to just leave your house and go in a parking lot and you're not gonna calm down your 6 dogs. And they're all, I think, rescue or something like that, so it's, yeah. This is, that's where my patient's like, what? No, I have things to do. I mean, I went to bed really late last night too, so I'm not listening to my own advice, but sleeping well and, we're all different. I would say probably for most of us, maybe 7-8 hours. That's what we need. But sleeping is when, basically your body's healing. Sleeping is when your liver is digesting the food. That happens around about 2 o'clock in the morning. There's no way, if you exercise and you're trying to go through a program, you need to sleep. Otherwise, again, your body will see it as something that needs to keep up with, like it could be an extra stress. So hormones, all of that leptin and ghrelin, all of that balance is, I don't know if you can see that, but all of that changes during the sleep. So if you're not sleeping enough, most of the time I see people having troubles losing weight. The magnesium that I mentioned earlier does help with the sleep as well. There are a few other things like passion flower, lemon balm. There are teas, supplements that can help with that. Melatonin, a lot of us will probably have low levels of melatonin. That's the sleep hormone because we're all on the phones and TVs and things. So you can try some melatonin for sleep as well. Start with a low dose because I've seen people getting all sorts of vivid dreams. You can try a more sustained release form if you tend to wake up during the night, so you can try that as well. But yep, no other choice. It's not gonna work. Let's see. I think I went to a little bit too fast. Just have to scroll down. Okay, here we go. And this is still related to, we're still on the brain, but these are the problem, right? The cravings. That's what. And the reason I put this slide up there is because it's not just, I have some So people will say, I really feel bad, I keep having these cravings, I don't know why I cannot be more disciplined, I don't know. This is not all our fault. This is a long list of things that can cause these cravings. So it's not all you, okay? It's not just that you don't have enough discipline. You could have problems with a chronic infection, and you can have a vitamin deficiency that's been causing this. So it's not easy to overcome this, and if you have those cravings and you don't feel like you can manage on your own, you might need to dig deeper, because these are some of the causes that you could have that. And until you fix this, you might not be able to deal with those cravings. Something easy that sometimes I do with my patients, I'll tell them that there is an amino acid called glutamine. Any of you heard that?
Yes.
Sometimes that can help, and it's pretty safe. Sometimes it can help with the cravings. And it's, like I said, you could use it pretty much with everything. Infections, like I said, can mess up weight loss process, whether it's candida, yeast overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth, viruses. That's like a whole topic by itself, but all I want you to remember is that if there are different things that are not working for you, these are your reasons, and that's why you need to look and try to solve these little problems. And here is your olive oil with the lemon. Like I said, that's what my health coach likes. I'm not doing it, but these are a few suggestions for just a mild detox. And the reason is, every time our toxin load is high, our liver has to work through that. So instead of working on processing the food and getting the things that you need from the food, the liver has to basically deal with this. And the toxins are stored in fat. So when you start losing weight, when you start doing the right things, that's when they're released in blood. And that's why I always keep in mind, you need to always remember, be regular, drink enough water, do your magnesium, Epsom salts bath. If anything else, just doing that, supporting your liver with the milk thistle, maybe use the dandelion tea. Add few layers of detox just to help your body get rid of these things, because you're gonna feel otherwise, especially when extra hormones are released, or you're gonna be emotional and up and down, and it's just it's like a crazy roller coaster. Detox bath, so it's elimination diet that we talked in the beginning. Olive oil with lemon, organic foods, of course, because the best way of avoiding toxins is not to get them in the first place. Detox shakes, there are all sorts of brands out there that can help, because they have certain supplements in it that will work for your liver. And then the detox baths, basically the Epsom salts. Magnesium can be absorbed through your skin. So even if you use that with some maybe essential oils, that's a perfect way or easy way of just doing something to help that detox process. And supplements, of course, all sorts of things. And our favorite, exercise. Because I'll tell you, if you exercise and you fit, you have, I had a talk for cancer patients, and actually there are studies, for example, I know it doesn't have anything to do with this, but it's amazing. There are studies that show the decrease of by 50% chance of reoccurrence in cancer patients if you exercise. I know, right? It's amazing. I told them, probably if it would be a pill out there that could do that, you all leave me right now and go to the pharmacy and get it, but it's just exercise. And this is, again, the major problem. I think the hormones are where we all trip and fall. Is your insulin, is your thyroid, is your adrenal glands. All of that can prevent you from losing weight. Anybody knows do you all know about adrenal fatigue?
I had it.
I have it.
Yeah.
So that's what I just described a little bit earlier. So when you're, so adrenals are two little glands on top of our kidneys, and they're so important. That's where you have your cortisol, some of the sex hormones, adrenaline, noradrenaline, very important little tiny glands. Because of years of stress, or it could be infections, trauma, psychological stress, you end up with what we call adrenal fatigue. And this is different from what conventional medicine recognizes that's Addison disease. Low cortisol in blood, life-threatening Addison disease. This is more of a functional concept, functional medicine concept, because we recognize that, okay, maybe your cortisol is not so low that you cannot, but you're not functioning well. You are not feeling well. Your body is not at optimal level of health. So they're a little bit different also, but that's what adrenal fatigue is. Insulin, glucose, that's what cortisol, insulin, and adrenal fatigue, that's what kind of puts the weight around the waist area, but it's using the apple cider vinegar, choosing complex sugars, like maybe the fruits, maybe their sweet potato, something like that would help a little bit more instead of just the processed plain sugar that we talked earlier. And that's probably so simple, right? Just do all of that and you're good to go. But yeah, it's what I want you to remember, like I said, if something doesn't work, there is a reason for it, right? Try to figure out, dig deeper, look for cause. Don't just blame it on, oh, you know, I'm 45, that's how probably I'm gonna feel, or you know, just blame it on your body. There is always a cause, whether it's stress or whether it's an infection, you need to figure out and try to fix it. And you guys have great help here from these beautiful ladies, so it's a great start. Any questions? I think that's a, yeah.
You mentioned briefly intermittent fasting. I know a lot
Yeah.
of the diets nowadays,
Yes.
you know, do the intermittent fasting. What is your take on it? Does it really benefit you, or you know, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I actually like it. I think I use it for many of my patients, including people with cancer, like before their chemo and stuff like that. But it's not something that I would do every day. Maybe I would say pick 1 day, 2 days a week. When you do it, it's just a way of helping your body calm down, rest. I know some people like to do it every day and it work for them. I found it a little bit hard to maintain, but I've seen people doing it every day and doing great on it. So by that, it means that you eat an early dinner, nothing after that until the next day about or around 11, 12. Some people will have a little bit of tea or coffee in the morning. Maybe they will add a drop of the ghee or something with a little bit of fat in it, especially if you feel like you cannot think, that will help a little bit. But some people just go without any food after 6, yeah. And actually, yeah, they're getting results.
Get used to it.
You just get used to it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah,
I haven't eaten since 6 last night.
yeah.
So is it 8 hours? It's a window of eating within an 8-hour window?
It's more than, yeah,
Okay.
because it's, yeah, it's from 6,
16 hours.
yeah, it's more like 16 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm,
That you're
mhm,
not eating?
mhm.
16 that you're not
Yeah.
eating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can do,
Okay.
mhm, yeah. I would have a little bit, again, a little bit of coffee in the morning, but
Okay.
I know you're, yeah, yeah, see. But yeah, people when they go for their chemo, my patients, I know they're told, eat whatever you can, whatever you want. No. That's one case where I would say, no, that's something, if you do this, will help not only minimize the adverse reaction, but also help the treatment go better. I mean, have more effect. So that's one thing what I'm really insisting on, very light eating before, yeah. But there are so many diets out there, you're right. And you just have to figure out what works for you the best. Yeah.
What would you suggest for people like that know that they have things like what type of testing, if you go to the doctor, if you're having some of these like digestive issues and things like that, what are some of the things that you can recommend as far as asking your doctor testing? I think a lot of people were wondering about food sensitivity and you know, things like that. So what would you suggest?
Yeah. So for something like this, you can check for all the vitamins and minerals in your body. So you can just ask for that. I use a lab called SpectraCell for that particular case. These days you can check, it's called the cardiometabolic profile, and for people with heart disease or whoever is worried about their cholesterol, that particular profile will give you not only the actual number, but will give you the size of the bad cholesterol particles. Will give you insulin level, will give you inflammation markers. So you have about, I think 12 different things they look at, and then they draw the line and give you your overall risk. And it's an eye opener when you see, because when you just see a number, you all heard about people that say, oh my gosh, I know how I ended up in ER with a heart attack. I just saw my doctor and he told me the numbers looked okay. I mean, I see them all the time, still work in the hospital, but that's why, because sometimes conventional medicine doesn't look deep enough. So that would be one thing. For the adrenal fatigue, it's the saliva test, basic, or the spit test, how my things called spit test. And it will show you the cortisol level, it will show you something like the AGA level, and then you can decide what type of protocol you need in order to fix that. What else? For the gut, there are so many things we can check. People can check for bacterial overgrowth. There is a test called Genova that actually shows you how you digest food. Shows you if you have any yeast overgrowth. It can show you how your good bacteria, they show you the amount and also the diversity of it. So these are the few things that where I would start. And then of course, when you go and check your thyroid, tell them please don't just check that TSH, because it's such a wide range. And I've seen people with a TSH normal, 3 point something, they're definitely hypothyroid. So it's always ask for T4, T3, a little bit more than just that TSH. Vitamin D levels, always B12. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, insurance doesn't cover a lot of those tests, though.
Mm-mm.
So a lot of those tests, you're paying a chunk
Yeah.
for those tests.
But remember that first thing that I showed you? Like,
Oh yeah, I know. I've
Yeah.
had them done,
Yeah,
but
it
I'm just
doesn't.
saying it's hard when
It's-
you tell people
Yeah.
to do that
Yeah.
because they're gonna have to pay
Yeah.
out of pocket for that.
And the way I see it, it's definitely the insurance is more like a sick care, right, at this point.
Yep.
They will pay for when you're sick.
Yeah.
And it's like with house insurance, they'll fix your house when, you have a big hole. But that's, they don't care about how, I know. I was hoping things would change, but actually things I think are getting worse. Just seeing in the hospital, I'm on the phone every week with somebody from insurance because they're trying to deny like a hospital stay. I had a 80-year-old lady with a broken neck. She found a broken neck and she didn't need surgery, thanks God. But how can I send her home? She said, and they said, well, she didn't need surgery. She needed to be home. Because if she didn't need surgery, you must be okay with a broken neck and a big collar. Yeah, so unfortunately things are getting worse. I was hoping it would get better and they'll start. Interesting enough, they will pay for some, or currently some of this, like Spectracell and Genova, they do work with insurance, so they will send to your insurance. Your insurance, yeah. So they will send and try to get some money from them. Yeah. To this point, Spectracell doesn't come back and bill you for more, to my knowledge, but that might change. I know Genova's changing the rules because the insurance was not paying anything, so they're losing money. So, yeah.
And I know this is kind of like new stuff, but what do you think about the DNA testing for nutrition?
I'm very careful with the DNA testing because I think there's so many still unknown variables out there. So I currently don't use it a lot. I look into one of the tests and actually I test everything on myself, from acupuncture to CBD oil, which by the way works. And it doesn't have the part that will make you happy. It just works on things. So if you all, it does work. It's amazing. But so I did it. I wasn't super impressed, to be honest. So I'm waiting a little bit more on that. I think, I'm sorry, you mentioned food allergy
Yes.
testing. Okay, that's a hot topic because I was always taught that the gold standard is to go through an elimination diet. That's the best way of knowing what actually is causing a trouble for you. I know some people like the food testing and sometimes I do it, but you can have false negative results with that. So let's say you notice that tomatoes are making you sick and you're just avoiding it because you don't like to see it, it will make you sick. If we're gonna test, you might have actually a low count of antibodies against tomatoes because your body's not exposed to. So then you come see me and I'll say, yeah, sure, you can eat tomatoes. Here you go, the count is low. And then, yeah, you'll not be happy with me because now you start eating tomatoes and your body's reacting. So even when I do the testing, I always caution my patients, say, okay, these are the things, but we still have to figure out if some of this is actually true or